Howdy. Today, we'll be taking a look at Legacy Metroplex. This figure is based on the original design from Transformers Cybertron, and it has been brought into the Titan class for the Transformers Legacy toy line. This figure comes with the Spark Drinker axe, which splits into two parts. One part has the bucket wheel excavator part, and the other half has a shovel at the end. These parts split in half to accommodate the transformation. In his robot mode, Metroplex looks absolutely amazing. I know there's a large debate between fans in the community, some of which say this is how they know Metroplex, and some of which say this isn't Metroplex, Metroplex was a city bot, but as somebody who grew up with Transformers Cybertron, this is always how I knew Metroplex. I think this figure looks amazing, and it's far better than the original. I think I finally understand how G1 fans felt when they released the original Titan Metroplex. This figure is so much better articulated, and it's so much bigger. I think everything that they put into this figure, the details, the size, the paint, everything makes it look so much better than the original figure. Here's how Titan Metroplex scales with Deluxe Class Deep Cover, Voyager Class Sweep, Leader Class Grimlock, and Commander Class Jetfire. Here's how Titan Metroplex scales with Sdcc Titan Class Metroplex. As you can see, the new Metroplex is just a tad bit shorter than the old Metroplex, but the articulation on this one is much better than the old Generations one. Here's how Metroplex scales with Metroplex, the original and the new one, and like I said, I think the new one looks far better than the old one. Of course, credit where credit is due. I don't think this one would be anywhere near a glint in someone's eye if they hadn't released the original, but I'm glad that they finally did justice to the scale of this character within the Cybertron universe. Of course, it wouldn't be Cybertron Metroplex without the Worker mode, a key feature of Residents of Gigantion, and I think this Worker mode is executed far better than the original one. For one, obviously, you can change the hands out to do this in its normal robot mode, but the fact that this is an intended feature in the Worker mode makes it feel a little bit more purposeful than the original design. I really like the shorter, stout kind of look of this Worker mode, and I like that the hands can be swapped so that you can have the bucket wheel and shovel on either hand. And I'm glad that they finally gave him a proper mask to put on. Working in these construction sites is bound to kick up some particulate that you wouldn't want to get in your gears. Here's how Worker mode scales with Deluxe Class Deep Cover, Voyager Class Sweep, and Leader Class Grimlock. Here's how Metroplex scales with Metroplex. And if you've seen my Cybertron Metroplex review, you might remember me saying that I wish that figure had ankle articulation, especially for Worker mode. And lo and behold, here we are, Titan Class Metroplex has ankle articulation. I'm glad they implemented it. In his vehicle mode, Metroplex is a Gigantion bucket wheel excavator, and it also has a shovel on the front. Not something that you find on real-world bucket wheel excavators. In his vehicle mode, I think Titan Metroplex, once again, does the bucket wheel excavator mode much better than the original Cybertron figure. I really like how they made it an effort to make this look way more filled out, flushed out, whatever, than the original one. It doesn't look like the original figure is just bent over in the fetal position, except leaning backwards. Anywho, they also put some really nice details that would be featured on a real-world bucket wheel excavator. For example, the little white struts at the top are featured on real-world bucket wheel excavators. They're arms that help to suspend the long and heavy bucket wheel excavator, much like a suspension bridge. This figure also features many ports and connectors that allow it to be used with minicons from the original Cybertron series, as well as Titan's Returns leader class figures that would turn into small bases. It's interesting that they never really featured this in any of the marketing, but many people have pointed it out, and it's interesting that they're still including these kinds of features. Here's how Titan Metroplex scales with Deluxe Class Deep Cover, Voyager Class Artfire, and Leader Class Laser Optimus Prime. Here's how Titan Class Metroplex scales with Sdcc Titan Class Metroplex in his vehicle mode. I think the city mode would take up a little bit too much space in my recording studio. And here he is, one last comparison between the old and the new Metroplex. And again, I think the new one looks far better than the old one. Also, you can notice the stark white plastic that they use on the new figure. I know mine has experienced some sunlight in its time, but it's still no competition. This figure looks much better. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at Legacy Metroplex. If there are any other figures you'd like me to take a look at next, leave a comment down below. And as always, I'm Leo, reminding you that plastic toys don't belong in plastic prisons. See you next time.